Okay, so let's have a discussion now. But are we set to play Man United at the worst possible time? Because it does seem like things may be on the rise now at the Theatre of Dreams. They finally said adios to Ten Hag. Van Nistelrooy, the interim's come in and brought back the bounce, life, and feeling after a really good win against Leicester in the Carabao Cup. And on top of that, today, they've just announced the confirmation signing of Ruben Amorim as their new manager. So, do we have it in us to cause one of the big upsets to completely burst this optimistic bubble at Manchester United right now? Well, I'm a bit unsure. Now, we all know we have a terrible history against United recently. I was looking at the stats and results. The last time we even picked up a win at Old Trafford came courtesy of Juan Mata in 2013. It's been over a decade since we've last won at Old Trafford, and we've only picked up 3 wins against United within 10 years. 2 came in the FA Cup, and obviously the last one came in last season's sensational comeback at home against United, courtesy of Cole Palmer's absolute genius. I really don't know what it is with Man United these days. Why are we so poor against them? Why do we capitulate against United? And I looked at the results, I looked at highlights of recent games, and we've constantly lost games to United due to lots of really silly reasons, due to a lot of self-inflicted mistakes. We're conceding wonder goals against United, we're conceding set pieces, we're conceding self-owned mistakes, and we're constantly conceding counter-attack goals. If anything, it's a reminder that our mentality against United recently has not been on the optimum level. United have constantly made us pay the price for every self-inflicted mistake we make. And now that Ten Hag's gone, now that Amorim is set to be the new manager, United players will feel like this is their moment now to essentially show Amorim what they're about and to stake their claim in a new look Manchester United. Now, Amorim won't be taking over this Sunday. He'll only be taking over on the 11th. But that doesn't mean that United players won't see this game against us as essentially one of the best trial periods to have in front of Amorim to really showcase why they should be part of his new look Manchester United team. There's going to be constant battles everywhere. I'm looking at Ugarte and Casemiro against Caicedo and Romeo Lavia. I'm looking at the battles out wide. Our wingers in Madueke and others, they're going to have to be brave. They're going to have to go for it. They're going to have to take the game on against your Dallos, your Mazwaris, or whoever plays as a fullback for Man United. It feels like fine margins are set to dictate who the winner is set to be in this game. And it just feels like if you want to overcome those margins, we're going to have to outcompete and out-mentality Manchester United. And that's been a struggle we've had against them now for over a decade. Let's hope the turning point against United that can change the whole fortunes against them is what we all witnessed near the end of last season, where we managed the impossible comeback to come back to win that game in the dying moments to secure a 4-3 win. Let's hope for this new look Chelsea team that don't really hold any of the dramas against United in the past. Let's hope that they can come in with a new mentality, a new freshness, and really start to banish this nightmare that we keep on having in this theatre of dreams. It's set to be one of the toughest tests of this new season. We'll learn even more about the team, especially after getting knocked out in a pretty disappointing fashion against Newcastle in the Carabao Cup. Let's see how the boys react. Let's see how they come back. Let's see how ready they are, and let's see if we can pick up only our second win in nearly 11 years at Old Trafford. So today, my friends, if there was ever a time to unite with good luck and fortune, this is the time right now. Only hit that like button if you feel positive that we can get a win. Don't hit it otherwise, even if you like my mug and like these videos. Only positivity today, my friends. I hope you enjoy. And let's get straight into this preview. Very quick news, but in terms of team news, there's really nothing to say. Obviously, Jadon Sancho won't be taking part in the game based on the loan agreement, but he's currently been suffering with illness too. And I guess outside of that, the only notable injury would be Omari Kellyman, but I think he's nowhere near this first team. So we have a full-strength team, and with full-strength teams comes its own unique problems. Let's see what lineup Maresca decides to use against Man United, because we saw in the game against Newcastle at home, we saw surprising tweaks. We saw Reece James at left back. We saw Gusto on the right. We saw Neto reintroduced. It does feel like Maresca probably has a plan in place for how we're going to approach this Man United game. Fingers crossed he gets the lineup right compared to what we saw against Newcastle in the Carabao Cup. So now let's move on to discussing the key talking points in this press conference, and naturally with United announcing the signing of Ruben Amorim. Maresca was going to have his thoughts on that. And as he said, of course, good luck to him. If the people in charge took that decision, it's because they feel like he's the correct one. And good luck to him and good luck to Man United. You know, managers these days have to pretend to be classy every single time. He said that he hasn't spoken to Van Nistelrooy, the interim manager, but he's going to give him a big hug because it's going to be a very big game on Sunday, but he remembers how humble and professional he was during their playing days when he was at Malaga and he was at Real Madrid. Maresca was asked whether we sacrificed the Carabao Cup game to win at Old Trafford, which is a complete nonsense question, and Maresca rightfully just brushed it off by saying, no, we prepared the team to win against Newcastle, and to be fair with you, we did have a superior XG compared to Newcastle, we just didn't take any of the good chances we made. Maresca tried to downplay the A team and B team we're currently seen. I don't know if I can fully buy into it, but I can accept that he's not going to admit that publicly before a massive game against United, where he's basically saying, listen, some can play in the Premier League, others can play in the Conference League or Carabao Cup, but in one or two games, it can change. If the ones playing the Carabao and Conference League, they can also find opportunities to play in the Premier League. And I think that's the right message to send out because, listen, God forbid, touch whatever, we don't suffer any injuries to key players. And if that does happen, God forbid, these B team players, they need to be ready. They need to be coming straight into the team to maintain that competitiveness in the team. Now, one of the interesting tactical questions discussed is how Maresca's used Reece James and Gusto in recent games, where we've seen each of them play in alternating positions down the left and right hand side. And Maresca essentially said, listen, the first reason why is because we think Malo can play there. You know, he can also play as a 10 due to his technical capacities. We think he can create and cause problems for the opposition. I said in the last conference, Malo is helping us a lot in the process because he is playing as a holding midfielder. He's playing in the pocket. And at the moment, Malo is doing well. But I agree with that in terms of the tactical setup. But getting the overloads we need in the wide areas is working. You know, in terms of mitigating counterattacks, it's good too. But I think all us fans are noticing that the only downside is players who are playing in this role, they find themselves in great shooting positions and they just can't take advantage of that. And we're seeing Gusto struggling to even test the keeper when he finds himself in these great areas. Let's see if we see improvements in the players' understanding of this new role, or if Maresca eventually decides to make a few small tweaks depending on the different teams we're playing against. Maresca discussed how pleased he was with Nicholas Jackson, saying he's very happy for him. Nico is helping the team out in terms of numbers and in many other ways in terms of how he wants his team to play. Against Newcastle, we saw what happens when he drops deep, the problems he causes, and when he attacks in behind, he's so quick and he's dangerous in front of goal. But I like the fact that Nicholas Jackson has won the support and belief, not only Pochettino last season, but currently Enzo Maresca. I think that says quite a lot about this guy's overall ability. And I just think to myself, listen, this guy is not even 25 years old. When he reaches that age, as he's entering his peak and prime, I think Nico has the tools to be one of the leading strikers in Europe, in my personal opinion. And naturally, conversations turn to Enzo Fernandez. Now, I'm sure you guys who are on your socials, we know that in Enzo's personal life right now, it's looking a bit techie. It's looking a bit peak. It seems like he's realized at a young age, crap, I'm done this family stuff too early. I'm still a kid. I want to have my fun. I'm not going to be sharing my opinions on that. Let's focus on the football. But he has been out the team so far. Lavia has essentially replaced him. Maresca said that Enzo is still part of his plans. He's just doing things differently at the moment. But he revealed that he likes the balance that Lavia and Caicedo bring. Romeo and Moy give us physicality, strength in midfield. And due to them, it allows him to use Malo Gusto in the pocket in that right half space. Otherwise, if you have Enzo Fernandez, you can only pick between Caicedo or Romeo Lavia. But Maresca reiterated the fact that it's the game that determines the plan. It depends on who we're playing against that determines who gets whose. And he alluded to the fact that we could one day soon see Joao Felix and Cole Palmer in those pocket areas alongside a striker. So if you're a Felix fan, let's hope we see more from him, but you could see him in the first team pretty soon. So they're the key points from the press conference, my friends. Share your thoughts and opinions. And now let's tackle the predictor lineup. In recent lineups, we've seen small tweaks, and those tweaks have been very beneficial and important for us in getting the results we've got recently, most notably with that game against Newcastle at home. So can we expect to see more tweaks from Enzo Maresca? Well, my friends, here's the lineup I'm personally going for. Up front, Nicholas Jackson. In behind, Neto, Cole Palmer, and Noni Madueke. A midfield of Caicedo, Lavia. In defense, I've been a bit different this time. I've gone for Cucurella on the left, Cole, Fofana, Reece James, and Robert Sanchez in goal. Now, I'm going to explain this lineup. One of the reasons I've gone for Cucurella in the team now is that I think when we create that makeshift back three, I want to see Cucurella now spread to the left-hand side. I want to see Cole receiving from the goalkeeper, bring a bit more composure and a bit more quality between the lines when it comes to finding options further forward. And I want to see Fofana, of course, spreading wide to the right-hand side. Having that makeshift back three should allow for Reece James now to push into midfield alongside Lavia and Caicedo. Now, one of the reasons why I've gone for Reece James is that I just feel like when the inverted option has the possibility to be in the half spaces, I just think that when they have these shooting positions, they don't take advantage of it. And the only player who is technically accomplished enough to create danger from these positions is Reece James. I've always felt like he has the ability to play in midfield. I understand why he's played deeper in defense now that Fofana was recently out of the team. But now that he's back right now, I do think that this is the game now to put Reece James in midfield, because I think Ugarte, Casemiro, they're going to be all over us, or they're going to try to be all over us in midfield. But I think having that reinforcement of Reece alongside Lavia and Caicedo, I think that makes us one of the main favourites to win that midfield battle. But on top of that, it's Reece's ability to underlap. It's Reece's ability to overlap out wide with Noni when he has to do that. I think Reece could be key for us in this game. And I trust that back three of Cucu, Cole, and Fofana to mitigate any Manchester United counterattacks. If anything, I feel like maybe Reece's pace has been a little bit rusty since he's come back, and I don't want him going on like 50-yard runs alongside Marcus Rashford. I'd rather maybe Fofana does that for now, with Reece being in midfield. So that's my thinking for that. Obviously, up front, it's going to be Neto. I think Neto just brings a great balance when he's playing on the left side, and I think it's key to have that because it allows us to stretch the game. You've got Neto who can pin back fullbacks. And I think United, we have to really pay attention to pinning back their fullbacks. Their fullbacks aren't afraid to get forward to support attacks and transitions when they need to. So a good way of controlling that is having Noni, Neto really stretching the play, receiving in great areas, combining with the underlapping runs of the inverted fullbacks and wide midfield players. You know, Neto is great at pushing his fullback all the way back to the byline, and by creating that space, it just creates more spaces for your Cole Palmers, Nicholas Jacksons, and Noni on the opposite side. So I think this is definitely the attack we're set to see. But you have to have a game plan for those United fullbacks. We need to have strength in midfield. This is why I want to see Reece James playing there. And I think we need to have at least three at the back to try to mitigate those counterattacks that United are going to try and spam against us. And of course, Nicholas Jackson speaks for himself. I think personally he'll have a pretty good game against United. I feel like if you're De Ligt, if you're Martinez, you're going to have some issues, because when Jackson drops deep to link up, we're seeing a lot of defenders struggling to cope with him now. Jackson's just too quick with his feet. He's got too good balance to just like turn either side on the whim. Great close control. And of course, he can play that decisive pass in behind. He's a real nightmare and handful for defenders this season in particular. And I do feel like if we play to his strengths, if we dominate possession like we should be doing against United, I think that Jackson most likely gets in that score sheet. So my friends, that's my predicted lineup out of the way. Share yours, let us know. And to end things with my match prediction, hear me out, but I'm going for a 2-2 draw because I got to be realistic. I just think that one weakness I've seen in this team is the mental side of the game, right? I just feel like whenever things go against us, against the run of playing games, it takes us a few minutes to snap out of that, negative mindset to get back into the game. And normally when we get ourselves in these states, we end up paying the price for that, right? And one of the things I've noticed in particular is that this young team who, listen, statistically, we got the youngest outfield team in the whole league. We're 3 years younger on average compared to United's squad in terms of average squad age, but they really can feel the pressure when opposition fans make a noise, create atmosphere. I saw that against Liverpool. We had our bad spell in those moments and we lost the game then and there. And I just feel that the United fans are going to be so up for it now because they feel like things are slowly starting to come back for them. The players are going to be up for it as well. It would not surprise me if we have self-inflicted mistakes that end us costing us any rewards in that game. So I think a 2-2 draw could be realistic, especially based on the recent history at the stadium. And listen, I want to see a win, of course, but I'll take a draw considering our history at Old Trafford. So my friends, share your thoughts and opinions. Are you excited for the game? Are you ready? Can we cause an upset? Let us know below. And on that note, I am Nini FC. This is Blue Lions TV. See you all soon.